distribution decision. So the development idea of capitalism lies in the faith in the market forces. They believe that development is the result of competition and individual initiative. Within the economic system, capitalism wants to see private ownership of production, that is, enhancement and improvement of land, labor, capital, and organization, and its distribution. So that is the capitalist approach. Then the second approach is all about the socialist model of the development. As we understand, socialism is a reaction against the capitalist mode economy, on the contrary to the capitalist. So it was to be termed as a correctional force, and there are different kinds of socialism. So the evolutionary socialists like Fabian wanted to transform the existing capitalist model of economy and society through peaceful means of legislation, that means according to the law, and see the democratic ways to change the social structure. Yeah. On the other hand, the revolutionary socialists wish to establish a socialist society resorting to the revolutionary means. So there are two ways of understanding the socialist model. One is where it was suggested with the legislation or wanted to see a democratic way to change a social structure. And whereas we see, for example, like Marxism, where they resort to the revolutionary means. Then the third approach is of the socialism and development administration. The aim of any administration is development of the society, and hence the development administration is to inherent quality to bring a change in a society, more specifically as an egalitarian and a pro people concerned. Yeah. So problems of such as like inequality, unemployment, corruption, competition, and wastage of resources, poverty, undernourishment, housing mortality rate, and the balance of payment, modern administration, where are the challenges that were part of this one, part of the planning mechanism. So the socialist path of development is a planned one, and we cannot see any room for the market forces. The state acts as a guardian, promoter, and protector of the interest for the society. Socialism disapproves the ethical role of nationalism. So society and social cause are ethically sound and could not be put in the margins of the vision. Then we also have one vision of Mahatma Gandhi related to the development. According to him, the economic thought is imbibed in his overall philosophy of Gandhiji. His approach was basically an holistic and aimed at the socio-economic reconstruction of the society. He wanted to change the dominant paradigm of industrialization to include the concept of development that was localized in villages. So it is on contrary to the dominant paradigm, which was talking about the capitalist society and the industrialization, but whereas Gandhiji suggested a bottom-up approach where they wanted a change from the local and the grassroots level. Then also we see that Gandhi's idea for a doping village sustainability are such campaigns like Khadi campaign. So all and creating small scale businesses at the village level. All these were part of his development ideas. Then next we have administrative machinery. So development schemes in the developing countries definitely have certain challenges. So to understand the current administrative setup, it is essential to understand what are the roots for planning the era. The traditional concept of public administration transformed with the emergence of the welfare state. Yeah. So when we are saying public administration, it is related to the welfare of the state. So during the 20th century, the government's narrow vision law and machinery or revenue administration underwent an overhaul and got a welfare state socialistic center path. So the development administration as a moment was an offshoot of the newly independent states emerging in Asia and Africa. So it is not only in India, but we also see in the continents like Asia and Africa, where the newly independent states were coming for a welfare state socialistic center path rather than just having a public administration. Here we try to address the problems related to the social problems like poverty, malnutrition, employment, which are basically existing. In these countries, the government were entrusted with an agency role of welfare and development. So the difficulties of time have made the administration in developing countries develop oriented or welfare oriented. So basically the administration was either to be develop oriented or welfare oriented. So let us look at the development schemes in the developing countries. So development becomes multi system management complex, whereas complex also related to the socio-economic process. So in developing countries, developmental administration represents a cluster of politico-bureaucratic nexus. For the several developing countries have realized the national development is essential as an integrated change. It is a continuous process directed towards transforming society and meshing its economic, political, and social administrative aspect. That means we need to have a balanced approach, and wherein we need to see that all the socio-economic, political, and administrative aspects have to be directed and work towards the transforming of the society. So we see that as part of that CAG, that is the Comparative Administration Group, was been set up in 1960. Yeah. So there we have seen that how public administration, it was discussed by Dr. Waldo Fredericks and et al. In a conference, that how public administration and the development administration are different. So these are the differences that has brought to the notice that when we are talking about the development administration, it is change oriented, it is goal and result oriented, then it is flexible and dynamic, its objectives are complex and multiple, and concerned with new tasks as part of the development administration. But when we are talking about the traditional public administration, it is status quo oriented, it is emphasized on economy and efficiency, and it is about a hierarchical and rigid, on the contrary to the development administration. And it is not objective, and rather it is simple and has a limited objective. And we also see that concerned without with routine operation. So these are the differences that CAG has. And also we see that development administration believes in decentralization, stresses on planning, creative and innovation, and stresses on the participation of the people. Because when it is a democratic country, it should be decentralized, it should have a proper planning, and also we see that there is a participation of the people. But on the contrary, we see that public administration believes in centralization, does not rely much on planning, and resist organizational changes, and has and stress due to the control and command structure. So these are the certain things that we try to see. However, let us understand what are the features of the development administration. So the features of development administration are, are change-oriented, goal-oriented, modern administration, client-oriented administration, and participation-oriented administration. And also we see that, the features are effective coordination, ecological perspective. So these are the certain features when we are talking about the development administration. Now let us understand the structure of development administration. So the basic administrative structure can be understood in this way, that, it is the government of India, then it is the state government, then it is the division, then this is districts. That is a three level of three tier system of governance. So we understand that India being a parliamentary form of government and a federal structure with unitary features, the government has four layered structures. Basically it's a three layered structures. Now we are also coming to the municipal and all those things. So we are also discussing about that one. So the first layer of Indian government consists of the central government. As you understand, what are the central government, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and all. Then the second layer of the government is the state level administration. The third level of the administrative structure consists of the local government. And the fourth level is the administrative units of Indian democratic states. Again, you have we have the union territories administered by the government. So at the national level, the administrative structure is comprising of all these representatives. Then we have planning commission and the role. So after this is a structure. So then we also have a planning commission that was set up. So India has as we understand, has accepted a socialist society where inequalities in income and life situations should be reduced. The planning commission was an extra constitutional body that
Madam, what is the planning commission, madam? What is the planning commission?
Yes, that is what I'm coming. So the planning commission was set up in 1950 by an executive legislation of India. It is the highest element of planning. Now we don't have, instead of planning commission, now we have is what? Niti Ayog. So after 2014, it has been replaced with Niti Ayog. So the planning commission was the something where we'll just go through, we'll understand. So it has the highest element of planning for social and economic development till recently, because it has been replaced with the Niti Ayoga. So role of a planning commission was basically divided into three divisions, that is administrative division, general division, and subject division. So basically, when we are talking about the administrative division, they were rendering the services pertaining to the administration, training, accounts, library. So basically, in a crux, if you want to understand planning commission, it is something that that we had a long-term planning. The India, because after coming out from the British rule and all those things, there was a huge challenge in all the areas. Let it be education, hunger, food, agriculture, everywhere, because we were lacking behind in all those terms. So now they have constituted a planning commission, which was bringing out the necessity in the areas that requires a focus, and what is the investment that has to go in those particular planning, and what are the areas. So that way, the role of the planning commission was again divided into administrative division, general division, and subject division. So as I told you, the administrative was rendering to the services pertaining to the administration, training, and library. So as part of the planning, this administrative division was trying to talk about and discuss about these areas. Whereas the general division was concerned with the aspect of overall economy. For example, perspective planning, international economics, financial resources, plan coordination, state plans, multi-level planning or labor employment, talking about hill area, talking about the agencies, talking about the development policies, and talking about the socio-economic research. Then subject divisions were concerned with the specific field of the development. For example, the areas where we require the focus, such as agriculture, environment, forest, water resources, health, education, all these things. So these were the basic divisions that were working under Planning Commission to bring an overall development. So this planning commission was set up in 1950, and they used to come with a 5-year planning, policy, and they were focusing in which area that has to be focused, in which area the training has to be given, what is the appropriate way to reach to the people and educate them. So we see also, as we discussed earlier, we had a National Development Council that came in 1952, was set up to strengthen up and mobilize the nation resources and efforts in support of the plan. So this NDC also worked with the help of in support of the Planning Commission, and also was talking about the national resources. It was to promote the common economic policies in all spheres and ensure the rapid and balanced development of all the regions. On development matters, we see that this council, which was again reconstituted on 1967, is the country's highest decision-making authority. The council was the apex body for deliberations and decision-making development matters, where all the union ministers, chief ministers, and administrators of union territories all were there. So however, we see that that this planning commission and NDC were been replaced with the formation of the Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog is what? National Institution for Transforming India. So for the 65 years, we have seen that planning commission and NDC working, but after 2015, the central government has under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, we have seen that it has got replaced with the formation of Niti Aayog. So basically, the Niti Aayog will be providing a critical direction and strategic input into the development process. They assume that the planning commission was only a one flow of policies. So thus, the planning commission was being stopped, discontinued, and they replaced it with the Niti Aayog, which according to them, it is something a think tank that will provide governments at the central and state level with relevant technical and strategic advice across the spectrum of key areas for the development. So this is the composition of the Niti Aayog, where the chairperson is Prime Minister and followed by nomination of the members. So at the state level also, we see that development can be visualized in the chart below. You have a governor, chief minister, and this is how we see. So under Articles 157 to 167 of Part 6 of Constitution deals with the state executive, consists of this setup. So at the district level also, we have a development administration where the district collector is the main person. Then we have also mandal levels, we have revenue divisions and all those things. You see in the recent we don't have this revenue departments, we don't have VROs and all those things. So there are certain changes according once we are having the government and setup also. So anyhow, we see that we have a proper mechanism that works for the rural development of people. So let us understand what it is. It is about the district planning committee. We have the states are required to constitute a DPC, that is the district planning committees, which facilitates the process of decentralizing planning. So basically, in each district, these are being set up, and they prepare a composite plans covering both urban and rural areas through effective coordination between the urban, civic, and development bodies for the urban segment and the PRIs for the rural. The chairperson of DPC is the Jilla Parishad. In the Panchayat Raj institution at the intermediate level, mandals, talukas, panchayats, and block panchayats, we have this one district level, then you have intermediate level, then the base level. So we also have this CAPAT, that is Council for the Advancement of People's Action in Rural Technology, which is a non-governmental organization which has initiated implementation of development programs in the rural areas, which gives a grant in aid from the government. So during the 7th plan period, there has been a positive move towards involving voluntary agencies in the planning and implementation of many rural development. Yesterday we have learned that NGOs and all those things, so they are also part of the development programs. So to promote voluntary action in rural development, this CAPAT was formed in 1986 by amalgamating the erstwhile People's Action for Development India and the Council for Advancement of Rural Technology. So they were clubbed and they was made as a CAPAT. So he is mainly entrusted with the task of giving the funds for the program, providing the budgets, implementing the programs under Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana and Sampurna Gramin Rozgar Yojana and rural housing and drinking water and sanitation schemes. So all these are central government schemes that are working at the grassroots level for the development of the rural people. We also see that there are district development agencies like a DRDA. So the Government of India has set up DRDA under the Society Registration Act 1860, where it was basically to implement sponsor schemes of Ministry of Rural Development. And the basic aim was that rural poverty elevation. So the Ministry of Rural Development recommended at all the district levels the planning and implementation of the DRDA. So it was headed basically by the collector, then a deputy commissioner or the district magistrate, and run by a functional executive as a project director or project officer. So accordingly, we see that in DRDAs, it is an autonomous agency at the beginning of the 6th plan. Later on, we see that it was integrated rural development program and the national rural employment program were launched in all the blocks in the country. So we see that the DRDA is overall in charge of planning, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of the programs in the district. So we also see the district collector and the development administration also we have. As we understand, at the district level also there should be a development. So they even, we feel that, there is a necessity for a grassroots development. There is a necessity for the district level setup where the district collector is the chairperson. So there are certain functions and responsibility of a district collector. He is the chief representative of the government in the district. The duties of the district collector are many and varied. Functions can be broadly organized under two, that is regulatory and development. So the regulatory function includes maintenance of law. Includes maintenance of law and order, collection of revenue, magisterial responsibilities that is related to the crime in all, and general functions. The task and responsibilities of the present-day collectors differ from state to state. And to understand the development function, the collector becomes a focal point after independence with the initiation of development planning in India. The collector is responsible for the direction and execution of development plans in the district. So there are certain roles of district collector in development, like dispelling of ignorance, eradication of superstition, spread of cooperative institutions and panchayats, rehabilitation of the refugees, increase of community projects and national extension, and encouragement of awareness. So this is all about the organizational setup related to the development administration. Next, we proceed on to the information administration. So what in this lesson, we will be talking about the importance of information administration, then objectives of the information. So what is information? See, information is something where we try to talk about, explain about the issues, pass on, create information, disseminate the government related information, welfare scheme information to the people. So here, to carry out that particular particular information that has to be catered to the public, we feel that there is a need, there is a proper setup that is that runs in the government. So let us understand. So we have information and public relations department in the government that plays a vital role in disseminating information to the public. So the functions of INPR is to publicize the government activities to the mass media communication. The department maintains the licensing with the press and the mass media, and also tries to create and understand and win the social acceptance for the new legislations enacted, keeping the people informed about the policy schemes and eradication of the social evils like untouchability, dowry, bonded labor, etc. So administration of information, there are certain powers and duties of officers and employees. So there are this INPR is again at the district level divided with the DPR. Then under DPR, we have divisional public relation officers. Then you have assistant public PROs. Then we have audiovisual supervisors. Then we have senior assistant and public assistant. So this is all about a setup of the INPR. We also have a public information system. So this, what exactly you mean by this one? So when we are talking about the public information systems, they are being analyzed for several perspectives about the users and usage and the data contents and the legal aspects of an organization. So 11th V. Orman defines public information system as a system designed for use by the general public rather than the specialist in a particular field of organization. It can be understood in three perspectives. That is, first perspective is that, why and for what purpose is public information system required, and a semantic purpose like what are the contents of the public information system, and a syntactic perspective how the public system can be constituted. So these all three levels are the three platforms. These are illustrated here. So like, for example, solution levels we have a public system. So basically, these are the services that we will be using. The second thing is that how we are being connected and how we can be part of it. So you have a purposes, usages, and uses of public information. The people who are involved are categorized as CPG, that is private persons and households. You can see this illustration. So it talks about the private persons and household families in their roles as a citizen clients. Then we have business companies. Then we have government agencies. The typical role of the different actors and the interaction between them can be understood with this illustration. So now information contents of the public information system. So they have a certain task, that is management of cases, processes, that is in terms of the decision processes, which depends upon the different people like citizens, customers, depends upon the business, it depends upon the government agencies. So basically there are certain characteristics for PIS, that is one, the user community is large, partially unknown, and usually heterogeneous, because everybody is in use of the basic system services. Then the users are partially unknown, rather sophisticated methods have to use to develop continuously to alter the system according to the user behavior and user preferences. Will often contain both public data and highly sensitive private data. Public information systems serving citizens and companies have a task to complete, most often to be able to communicate seamlessly with the information. Yeah. So public systems are often dependent on well-functioning and well-integrated information infrastructures in the responsible organizations, and talks about the infrastructures that is important for the public to be used, and it has to keep an updated data accordingly. Then let us understand the organization and structure of an information administration. That the dissemination of information is very important for the proper function of any government. So, like any other government department, public information in the government is managed by separate services called the information service. Here we see that there is a central government Indian information service and the state government information services of various, as part of this state government. So, as part of the central government, we have IIS, that is Indian Information Services, which manages to disseminate information through various media organization under INB, and also PIB, Public Division Directorate of Advertising and Visual Publicity. The INB is responsible for keeping people informed about the government policies at the central level, programs, plans. And at the state level, we see that INPR is the department that keeps update about it. At the union territories, it is a type of administrative division in the Republic of India. So they have their own elected governments. Union territories are directly, as we understand, by the union government, that is the central government, hence the name Union Territory. The president administers the union territory. So like any other essential government department, public information in the union territory is managed professionally by the separate service called as information service. For example, in Chandigarh, the Department of Public Relations is a nodal agency to disseminate information to the print and electronic media. And the department's day-to-day functioning includes the coverage of main functions of the administration, press clippings, all related to the media. Yeah. And then there are certain functions of the information service. It is to gather, analyze, and communicate information to the people by using a different medium. Then we have Ministry of Information and Broadcasting and media units. So as part of the ministry, we have certain departments. That is first the information sector we have, then we have a film sector, then we have broadcasting sector, then we have media units. So we, as part of the media, then we have a Bureau of Outreach and Communication. So all these are work. Then we have CPFC and Directorate of Film Festival. Then we have Electronic Media Monitoring Centers. Then we have Film Division. Then we have a National Film Archive of India and New Media Wing because of the technology. And we have PIB Publication Division. This is part of the newspapers. RNI, then autonomous organizations as Prasar Bharati, which is the nodal agency for the All India Radio, Doordarshan. Then we have Press Council of India. Then we have FTII, that is Film and Television Institute of India. Then we also have Satyajit Ray Film and Television Institute. Then we also have IIMC and a Children Film Society of India. But then we also see that there are some public sector undertakings like, National Film Development Corporation Limited, Broadcast Engineering Consultant India Limited. These are various setups in the under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to cater to the different audiences using the different resources. Let us talk about the state information and PR department. As I said that, in the state government, it is the INPR department that disseminates the information and talks about the policies and also works at the district level. So to implement they basically implement the programs and make a people orientation, and the department functions at different levels. So there are certain objectives. The objective is to disseminate information and give a publicity and maintain the public relation. So it utilizes the multimedia system. So dissemination of information is basically a twofold, that is informing the public about the policies and programs of the government on the one hand, and other keeping the government informed about the people's reaction of the policies. There are certain functions of the department. The department discharges like functions such as publicizing the activities through taking the mass media, and also taking the help of the Ministry of INB, what do we say, those units for the publicity, and it keeps the people informed of the services. Then there is a organizational setup also, where we have we have a directorate. Department is headed by the commissioner, assisted by director. Then we have additional director. Then we have a chief information engineer and then regional information engineer. So this is all that one. Apart from that, they have a publicity cell. Then they have a state information center at New Delhi. They organize the field units. They talk about the special publicity cells in tribal areas, because those tribal areas require agencies. Then we have media relations accreditation, then welfare schemes to journalists, media information monitoring system. Then you have Fortis Services Department, advertising and visual publicity. They are also organize the exhibitions. They also talk about community video publicity programs, video conferencing system, video community radio sets, community TV sets, and public address system arrangements. And also they also give the video services. They also maintain a website, and I have a song and drama division, basically to reach at the grassroots level. So they have an information centers, and the basic aim of the objective is to available the authentic information at one place to organizations and individuals interested in policies and programs. This information center serves as the clearinghouse of knowledge, which are equipped with the reading room, references library, and inquiry desk. They also come out with the publication. Right now the INPR department comes with Telangana publication, which is in Telugu and Urdu. Then coming back to the development administration, as we have understood, it is referring to the administration of the policies, programs, and projects that contribute to the development of a nation and have a significant socio-political and economic impact. So the characteristics of development administration is, we read already about this one, that are goal-oriented, change-oriented, progress-oriented, effective. Then you have information administration also, that conducts research, analysis, advises senior officials, managing media relations, informing societies, and as it is trying to update. Then there are certain linkages and which are formal and informal as a partnership with other organization in different areas of mutual interest. Linkages are being formed with various organizations that share the same vision. The organizations can be government at the national, state, and regional level, and various departments under the aegis of the government. Then next, moving on, we have media coordination. So when we are talking so much of about the development, how is that, the government is trying to reach to the people? As we have understood earlier also, that you have INPR and all those things. So what exactly are the media departments? So what is the role of the media departments? So these agencies of the central government function under the Ministry of Information. As the name suggests, it has agencies and departments that cater to the information and broadcasting. These agencies gives out information about the policies and programs. Yeah. So basically, if you see a setup organization organography of an INB, it is like, they work for the information broadcasting, and they also have a film division. So as part of this one, we have All India Radio. These are the certain what do you say, departments that they have. Then yeah, media units, then mass media use. So All India Radio, that is a radio Doordarshan, is this one. The film division tries to produce the film, and these are the certain roles of those media units. So media organizational networks. So in the central government, broadly, we see that, it has been categorized into film sector, traditional media, and content creation, and expansion of transmission network and digitization. So Ministry of Information and Broadcasting is having basically four wings: the information wing, the broadcasting wing, the film wing, and the integrated finance wing. So the mandate of information Ministry of INB is that new services through AI and Doordarshan for the people, including Indians abroad. So we have development of broadcasting and television. These are the roles that we see that as part of the INB ministry, these are the services that they have been provided. I hope you all understand what is Prasar Bharati. Prasar Bharati is an autonomous body, and it is the public, it is the country's public sector. It is PSB, that is Public Service Broadcaster. So with All India Radio and Doordarshan, it has two constituents. It came into existence on 23rd November 1997 with a mandate to organize and conduct public broadcasting services, which meant for informing, educating, and entertaining people, and to ensure balanced development with the help of the mass media. So the major objectives of Prasar Bharati are for the promoting in national integration. So as a public broadcaster, they have to promote in national integration, safeguard the citizen rights, and inform all the matters of public interest, pay special attention to the fields of education and spread literacy, talk about the rural development, agriculture development, create awareness, provide adequate coverage, promote social justice, and expand broadcasting facilities. Then we have state media unit also, such as as far as we have discussed, we have INPR. So as part of the INPR, we have advertising and visual publicity, which works for the talk about the policies and the publicity programs and the welfare programs. Then you have, as part of the union territories in those regions also, we see that there are Department of Public Relations that works to disseminate the information. So there is a coordination among the media, like we have media coordination involves working with the media to inform the public about the organization mission, policies, and practices positively. So this means when we are saying coordinating directly with the people responsible for producing the news and features in the mass media, it aims to maximize the positive coverage in the mass media without paying for it directly through advertising. So basically, it is trying to give the information in as a news and try to create an awareness about the governmental policies and the governance. Other media units that we see is also the same thing. They are not other media, but they are a part of the Prasar Bharati, where they are part of the public service broadcasting. So as part, this is what this is repetitive, if I'm not mistaken, we have discussed about this one. So this is what as part, then we have a Press Council of India also, which is a statutory autonomous body, which is which is being formed by the parliament for the twin objective of preserving the press freedom and maintaining and improving the standards of newspaper and the news agencies. So Press Council of India is a statutory body. It has certain functions. It is something like, where you can complain the cases, it receive the cases related to the press freedoms or again the violation of journalistic ethics. It talks about the welfare, it talks about the misconduct and the wrong practices being done. So it is a statutory body that looks into that one. So these are the certain units that work in bringing and information and creating an awareness about the media, about the government with the help of the media. Then, as we said, we have a media coordination section, which is talking at the state and district level. We have a publicity coordination committees to coordinate with the central organization. So we see that, there are some certain public sector undertakings and departments. They have the publicity wings and setup. There are 9 state information centers. They are located in New Delhi, Hyderabad, Vijayawada, Visakhapatnam. This was in AP. So what we have is Hyderabad, Warangal, so Karnool. These are the districts. So we see that there are certain district level and divisional information centers that cater to the information to the public and receive the feedback. Also, there are annual conferences of the state information ministries. Then we also see there is an intermedia publicity coordination committee, then district level coordination. Then they try to understand the impact on development with the help and usage of the media, because the father of communication studies, Wilbur Scram, has stated that, that media has a special role where it creates a dialogue between the government and the public for the welfare of the society. Yeah. So this is what we come to the end of the session. Yeah. Fine. Any queries, anything, any doubts, or shall I end the session?
No doubts.
Okay. Then see you for the next session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.